Did you know that just 14 wolves managed to change the course of rivers? It sounds like a myth, but this is the real-life environmental thriller of Yellowstone National Park. For most of the 20th century, something was deeply wrong in Yellowstone. By the 1920s, wolves, the park's top predator, had been completely wiped out. Without them, the elk population exploded. But more importantly, their behavior changed. They weren't scared anymore. They lingered in open valleys and along riverbanks, grazing young trees and shrubs down to nothing. This stripped the rivers of their natural armor, the willows, aspens, and cottonwoods. The banks became bare, unstable, and started to crumble. By the early 1990s, Yellowstone's rivers were in bad shape. They were wide, shallow, and their banks were eroding fast. Wetlands were shrinking, songbirds were vanishing because their nesting shrubs were gone, and beavers were declining because the willows they needed for food and dams had disappeared. Biologists warned that the park was sliding toward a simplified, degraded state. Then, in 1995, a bold experiment began. 14 grey wolves from Canada were released into Yellowstone. The goal was to restore a missing piece of the food web, but no one predicted what would happen next. The wolves did what wolves do. They hunted elk. This didn't just reduce elk numbers, it changed their behavior. The open river valleys suddenly became death traps. Elk stopped hanging out there, giving the plants a break for the first time in decades. Scientists call this the ecology of fear. With the elk gone, the riverbanks began to green up with surprising speed. Willow and aspen saplings shot upward, growing several times taller in just a few years. These new trees did more than just look pretty. Their roots acted like underground nets, gripping the soil and stabilizing the riverbanks. Taller vegetation shaded the water, cooling it down for fish and insects. The river corridors transformed from overgrazed fields into complex ribbons of life. This green comeback invited another key player back to the scene. The beaver. With their food source, the willows returning, beaver colonies expanded. They built dams, creating ponds and wetlands that became new homes for frogs, fish, and waterfowl. Songbirds also returned to nest in the new shrubbery. Scavengers like bears and eagles benefited too, feasting on the leftovers from wolf kills. A single change was rippling through the entire ecosystem. But the most incredible chapter of this story is what happened to the rivers themselves. With their banks reinforced by new roots, erosion slowed dramatically. The rivers stopped wandering so widely. Their channels narrowed, deepened, and developed more pools and riffles, perfect habitats for trout. The physical geography of the valleys literally changed. Once wide, shallow, and braided, the streams became more defined and stable. The key insight here is that the wolves didn't need to be numerous to have this massive impact. The ecology of fear was enough. Just the risk of being hunted was enough to redistribute the elk, allowing plants to recover. This is a classic example of a trophic cascade, a chain reaction that starts at the top of the food chain and tumbles all the way down, reshaping even the land itself. And this isn't just a feel-good story. It's backed by decades of painstaking scientific research. Biologists have tracked elk movements, mapped vegetation growth, and surveyed channel shapes to document these changes. While there's debate about how much is due to wolves versus climate, the core pattern is wet. The Yellowstone story is a powerful preview of a new conservation strategy, rewilding. It shows that restoring apex predators might be one of our best tools for reviving degraded ecosystems. The bold prediction is that our most effective climate solutions might not be machines or laws, but the return of keystone species. An animal once hunted to extinction became the catalyst for a river's rebirth. But there's a warning here too. Yellowstone only needed this dramatic rescue because humans removed the wolves in the first place, ignoring how connected everything is. It reminds us that every ecosystem has its own wolves. Critical species whose presence or absence dictates the fate of the entire landscape. The story of Yellowstone shows us that when we give nature back its missing pieces, it has a profound ability to heal itself. Thanks for watching. If you found this story as amazing as I did, hit that like button and subscribe for more incredible stories from our natural world.